You've been there, staring at a PowerPoint slide so jam-packed with text, charts, and fireworks-level animations that your brain just shuts down. Or you're trying to follow a tutorial, but the instructions are on one side of the screen and the diagram is on the other, so you're playing a painful game of mental ping pong. You feel overwhelmed, you feel slow, and you think, maybe I'm just not getting this. What if I told you it's not a you problem? What if the real issue is the way the information is designed? And what if there's a science-backed design playbook that can slice through that noise and give you the kind of instant clarity that feels like a brain upgrade? Today on Brainful Bites, we're diving into cognitive load theory, the secret science of designing work and learning for how your brain actually operates. We're going to expose the design crimes that overload you and give you tools to fix them for good. All right, let's get this straight. Your brain runs on a tiny, precious resource called working memory. Think of it like a small mental whiteboard. It can only hold a few chunks at a time, and it wipes fast. When we cram too much onto that whiteboard, we get overwhelmed. We make mistakes, and learning stalls. Cognitive load theory, CLT for short, is the rule book for respecting that limit so you can perform and learn better. CLT, pioneered by John Sweller and expanded by many others, breaks the total demand on that whiteboard into 3 kinds of load. Intrinsic load, the built-in complexity of the thing itself. Saying hello in a new language, low intrinsic load. Solving a multi-step physics proof or debugging a gnarly codebase, high intrinsic load. You can't erase intrinsic load, but you can manage it by sequencing, chunking, and pre-training key elements before showing the whole beast. Extraneous load, the design tax. This is wasted effort caused by confusing layouts, split information, decorative fluff, and distracting transitions. It's the load we should ruthlessly minimize because it steals capacity with zero payoff. Germane load, the good effort. This is the mental work of building and strengthening schemas, those organized knowledge structures that make complex tasks feel simple over time. Modern accounts often fold germane load into how we allocate the limited capacity we have, but the practical takeaway is the same. Free space from extraneous junk so more of your effort can go toward building durable understanding. Big picture, manage intrinsic complexity, minimize extraneous load, and channel your limited capacity to the work that actually grows your skill. And the science is clear on what creates avoidable overload. Let's hit the greatest hits, with proof, plus the important caveats so you can apply them wisely. First up, the split attention effect. This is the classic crime of separating information that belongs together, like a diagram over here and the labels or explanation way over there. Your brain has to shuttle attention back and forth and stitch them together, burning bandwidth that should be used for understanding. Chandler and Sweller showed back in 1992 that physically integrating sources, putting labels on the diagram, keeping the explanatory text adjacent, boosts learning and speeds people up. Caveat, this matters most when the sources truly depend on each other. If they're independent chunks, integration won't help and may even clutter. Next, seductive details. You know, those fun but irrelevant facts, decorative images, sound effects, or spice tossed into slides and tutorials. They feel engaging, but they siphon attention away from what actually matters. A 2012 meta-analysis by Ray found that seductive details reliably hurt retention and transfer on average. Caveat, in some contexts, especially for higher knowledge learners, or when motivation is low, well-chosen details can boost interest. But if they're not serving the learning goal, they are almost always a net negative. Now, the modality principle. If you're showing a complex visual, like a process diagram or an informative chart, pair it with spoken words rather than loading the screen with a text block. That distributes load across your visual and auditory channels and reduces competition within a single channel. Ginn's 2005 meta-analysis supports this, particularly for complex paced visuals. Caveats, if learners can self-pace and reread, on-screen text can be fine. If the words must be read verbatim, like a legal disclaimer, code snippet, formula, or exact definition, put them on screen. And in some contexts, like certain VR or fully self-paced interactions, the benefit can shrink or flip. Then, the worked example effect. For novices, the figure-it-out problem-solving triggers unproductive search, means ends guessing that burns precious capacity. Sweller's 1988 work showed that studying well-designed, step-by-step examples helps beginners build schemas faster and with fewer errors. This has been extended in later work, showing efficiency gains when you sequence example, completion problem, example, problem pairs to independent problems. Caveat: the expertise reversal effect, Kalyuga and colleagues 2003, warns that what helps novices can hinder experts. As competence grows, heavy guidance becomes extraneous. You must fade support. So far, so practical. But let's bring this to life with a quick before and after. Title at the top, quote, Q3 Performance Overview. Below it, 2 dense paragraphs explaining 5 metrics, a clustered bar chart with a tiny legend, a pie chart for channel mix, a table of raw numbers, and a stock photo of a rocket for motivation. Oh, and a subtle techno soundtrack. Result: split attention everywhere, competing visuals, and a scavenger hunt for meaning. 1 message per slide. Slide 1, net retention up to 108%, Q3. Big, clear number. Small subtitle, plus 6 points versus Q2. A single, well-labeled line chart with on-graph annotations at inflection points. Legend removed. Labels placed right on the lines. A brief spoken explanation instead of a text block. 2 things drove the jump. Renewals improved in enterprise, and mid-market expansions accelerated after the pricing update. Next slide focuses solely on driver 1 with a simple bar chart and 1 callout. Next slide, driver 2 with a mini funnel. The rocket image and background music, gone. If you want energy, bring it in your voice and pacing, not with cognitive glitter. You've just removed extraneous load, legend, soundtrack, decorative image, integrated related info, labels on graph, text next to visuals, reduced element interactivity per view, 1 idea per slide, and used modality wisely, voice for explanation, visuals for data. Okay, theory and example in place. Let's arm you with a toolkit you can use today. Put labels where the eyes need them, on the diagram, not in a separate legend. Keep the explanation adjacent to the visual it explains. Use signaling cues, arrows, bolding, color highlights, numbering of steps. Make the reading path obvious. Kill forced tab hopping. If your instructions reference a configuration panel, show that panel right there or provide an in-app overlay. Split attention across windows is still split attention. Checklist cue for yourself. If someone looked only at the visuals and the signals, would they know where to look first, second, and third? 1 message per slide or view. If you have 2 messages, you have 2 slides. Delete decorative images, superfluous icons, and non-informative animations. If an element doesn't earn its pixels, it's gone. Trim narration to essential meaning. Replace the "as you can clearly see here" with the actual insight. The drop happens right after the policy change. Beware background vibes. Music and sound effects compete with spoken explanations. Use them sparingly, if at all, during dense content. Pre-train the parts before the whole. Introduce key terms, symbols, UI regions, or component names before showing the full system. Segment complex procedures into short, self-contained chunks that can be paused and replayed. Progressive disclosure. Show just the core first, then reveal details on click or on the next slide or screen. Chunk into 3 to 5 meaningful groups. Don't force all details up front. Let learners request them when ready. Start new skills with fully worked examples. Narrate the why behind each step, not just the what. Move to completion problems. Provide the setup and the first steps. Ask learners to finish. Use example problem pairs. Study 1, then immediately try 1 with minimal changes. Fade support deliberately. For experts, switch to goal-free exploration or more open-ended tasks to avoid the expertise reversal trap. Pair complex visuals with voice. Avoid reading paragraphs of text aloud while the same text sits on screen. Use on-screen text when precise wording must be retained, definitions, code, formulas, audio isn't feasible, or accessibility requires captions. Keep audio crisp and clean. Remove music under voice unless it's very subtle and purposeful. Make the top left or first screen answer a single high-value question. Secondary questions live 1 click away. Group related metrics proximal to one another and annotate directly on the chart. Peak after launch v2.3. Use small multiples instead of one overloaded graph. Familiar repetition reduces interpretation cost. Eliminate redundant legends, grid lines, and chart junk. Use whitespace generously. Whitespace is a design decision, not an absence of design. Kick off with the single desired outcome. By the end of this meeting, we decide X. Share pre-reads with a short read-in time at the start to equalize context and cut extraneous clarification later. One artifact at a time on screen. No side-bys unless they're tightly integrated. Use a visible agenda with time boxes and link each segment to the decision or output it supports. Show the screen state users will actually see. Avoid stylized mock-ups that don't match reality. Co-locate instruction with interface regions via callouts and highlights. No scavenger hunts. Provide error exemplars. If you see this warning, it means X, do Y. Worked examples should include common failure modes. Provide a summary flow at the end to consolidate the schema, then a quick self-test to reinforce. Seductive details aren't always evil. If a brief, relevant story increases motivation and directly supports the learning goal, especially for more advanced learners, it can help. The test is, would removing it reduce understanding or engagement tied to the objective? If not, cut it. Modality isn't always audio wins. For self-paced study, on-screen text can let learners linger and reread. For noisy environments or accessibility, text is essential. The principle is match the channel to the task and context. Expertise matters. The same worksheet that unlocks a beginner can bore an expert. Build paths. Novice track versus fast track. Now, let's make this even more practical with a 5-minute redesign recipe you can run on any slide, page, or screen. Step 1. State the one message in a single sentence. If you can't, you're not ready to design the slide or screen yet. Step 2. Delete anything that doesn't directly support that message. Decorations, duplicate labels, orphan metrics, gone. Step 3. Integrate sources. Put labels on the graphic, captions next to images, and legends inside charts where possible. Step 4. Add signals, arrows, outlines, bolding, or numbering to show the viewing path and highlight the key point. Step 5. Choose modality. If a visual is complex, move the explanation to voice or a separate short caption. Don't put a paragraph next to the chart. Step 6. Stress test with a colleague. Give them 10 seconds. Ask, what's the one thing this is saying? If they waffle, repeat steps 2 through 5. Want to go a level deeper? Run a super quick load audit on your content or process. Intrinsic. Is the task inherently complex? If yes, pre-train the parts and sequence into chunks. If no, but it still feels hard, look for extraneous culprits. Extraneous. Are related elements separated? Is there decorative stuff with no job? Are there too many concurrent elements? Are you forcing tab or window switches? Germane. Schema building. Does the design make the structure explicit, like showing patterns, naming steps, or summarizing takeaways? Do you include retrieval practice or quick self-checks? A 30-minute meeting where someone demos a full CRM workflow at full speed with the team trying to follow, with a dense slide deck in the background and a PDF SOP sent later. A 3-minute micro video naming key CRM panels and fields. One screen, labels on panel. 3 5-minute chunks. Create lead, qualify, convert. Each with the worked example showing every click, plus an error exemplar. After each chunk, a short practice scenario with partial steps provided, then an independent one. A 1-page checklist with the exact steps, co-located screenshots, and signals. No decorative branding. A 3-question self-check, and a 2-minute recap, highlighting patterns. Qualification fails usually happen because fields A and C are incomplete. Double-check those. Lower extraneous load, managed intrinsic load, and more capacity devoted to building the right schema. A common pitfall is putting every metric on one dashboard, so it's all in one place. The fix is to build layered views, executive summary first, drill down second. Another pitfall is reading dense text out loud while it's also on screen. The fix is to either show keywords or visuals and speak the explanation, or let viewers read silently, then discuss implications. Over-animating is another one. The fix is to use simple, purposeful transitions only when they reduce search, e.g. progressive reveal in a process diagram. And finally, treating beginners and experts the same. The fix is to offer an essentials path with examples and a pro path with minimal scaffolding and richer challenges. Now let's connect all of this back to you and your week.
Pick one thing you'll deliver: a slide deck, a doc, a dashboard, or a demo. Run the 60-second load audit. Apply the 5-minute clarity recipe to the first screen or slide. Choose one principle to over-index on: integration, sequencing, or modality. Write it on a sticky note and keep it in view as you design. And here's a quick mental model to keep in your pocket. Whiteboard budget. You get a tiny whiteboard. Every element you add takes space. Every necessary hop between sources is a tax.
Spend capacity only on what moves understanding forward. If something doesn't earn its space, it pays rent by leaving. One more nuance before we wrap: measurement. Researchers debate how to tease apart intrinsic, extraneous, and germane loads in practice. You'll see subjective ratings, performance measures, even physiological proxies. For day-to-day design, you don't need lab-grade measurement. You need to observe friction. Where do people pause, backtrack, ask, "Wait, where is that?" or misclick? Those moments point to extraneous load. Remove them, and you free capacity for learning. Let's land the plane. That overwhelmed feeling you've had, it's not a personal failing. It's often a design failure. When you respect working memory, you make clearer presentations, saner dashboards, more learnable products, and training that actually sticks. Manage intrinsic complexity with sequencing, kill extraneous load with integration and ruthless decluttering, and channel effort into building schemas with worked examples that you intentionally fade. It's time to stop blaming our brains and start designing for them. What's the worst example of cognitive overload you've seen this week? A chaotic slide, a confusing website, an all-in-one dashboard of doom? Drop it in the comments. Tell us which fix you'd apply first. And if there's a cognitive science topic you want us to unpack next, we're all ears. If this helped, share it with the teammate who builds decks, dashboards, or docs. Your future meetings will thank you. Until next time, keep your brain hungry and your designs clean.